Hey everybody, this is Perch. Be careful what you wish for. So I've been talking for a long time about how the comic industry needs to innovate, and innovation is a good thing. And developing new strategies, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of madness. All that kind of stuff. You need to be able to invent new things, innovate in areas, and actually promote change, promote something that's different. That's critical to what's necessary as a company. And the comic industry has been stagnant for far too long and often relying back on things that were established 30 years ago. The direct market is an example of this. I was a very happy comic retailer, wonderful memories in my life, love it all to death. At the same time, having only that channel be the channel when the rest of the world's been massively disrupted, not just in the retail space, but through Amazon and kind of how people purchase and do things, is a bad idea. I think that, you have to adapt your model. Comics has not done that. So, I welcome experiments. Not all experiments are good, and you do need to try things in order to fail and learn. So here's an experiment that to me is like innovating in the space of cars by adding a fifth wheel. It is confusing. You don't understand why it was done. It adds no value, and it pisses people off as much as confuses them. So I'm going to read this article to you. This is from Soft Tonic. I don't know what the site is or what their deal is, but let's give it a shot. News. From now on, Marvel Comics will have a QR code to view the final page, and nobody understands why. Now, I want to stress, at this moment that this article is biased. It is absolutely not neutral about its absolute disdain and dislike for this development. I'm not sure what it would look like. I don't know how you would make this not just sound filled with contempt and frustration in describing this move. So I give this writer a pass for not even trying. Article goes, once upon a time, that is a couple months ago, reading comic books in a physical format was very simple. You bought it, you read it, and that was it. As an alternative, you could wait for the comic books to be collected in a volume a few months later, or a year later, or never, to enjoy the complete adventures at a slightly cheaper price. Or if you prefer digital copies, you had different possibilities to enjoy your hobby, until now. Enter Marvel. M-A-Q-R-V-E-L, Mark Wall. Anyway, Marvel, like many publishers, has seen businesses dropping and comic books are not selling as they used to, partly because a day before the new releases are available for sale, somebody's already scanned them or posted the twists and best panels on Reddit and various websites. I contend, I'll interrupt this article, that is far from the reason that business is dropping. It may be one tiny, tiny reason, but saying that is the reason business is dropping is a little bit like a 90-year-old man saying he doesn't get as much ass because the women around aren't hot enough. Anyway, I get plenty of ass. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Mrs. Perch. All right, back to the article. It says there's nothing that can be done against this, as it reflects the current state of things. Don't agree with that, but sure. As a result, the first release of the new era X-Men tried to change things in the weirdest way possible by removing the last page and replacing it with a QR code. With that code, readers can access the final page, which tends to be the one that holds cliffhangers and nods to the future. But it turns out this won't be the only time it happens, as Tom Brevoort, the fucking moron, explained in his newsletter. Sorry, that little extra part was mine. I'm sorry. The guy's a smug dick. And this... Andy Jesus. All right, we're going to continue. They basically imagined it as an extra page that wouldn't be released until the same day of launch to avoid spoilers, and they will continue to do so throughout the different titles of the Mutant franchise. Some fans already believe, with some reason, that Brevoort and Marvel are shooting themselves in the foot with physical comic editions, urging the publishers to go entirely digital. After all, what does it matter if we already have to read part of our physical comic on a screen? Yeah, no shit. Furthermore, they've already announced that these pages will be printed in compilation volumes and released months later. In this plan, who would be willing to pay for something more expensive and incomplete? The industry is changing at full speed. Kids don't read comics, not in physical form at least. I hate that line, by the way. Fuck you with that line. It's not true. Okay, Dogman, YA, Babysitter Club, stuff at Target. Go to Target. They're reading manga. They're reading all of YA stuff all over the place. Graphic novels are selling better than they used to for that segment than they have since the 80s. Kids are reading more. There's tons and tons of material. They're not reading Marvel comics more. It's a very different statement than saying kids aren't reading more comics in today's day and age. No. And the internet is destroying novelty and surprise. Again, I hard disagree. I share the outrage of this writer, but I hard disagree. By the way, for what it's worth, in this article, comically, there is an ad for Marvel Unlimited in it. But anyway, creating a QR code definitely won't solve anything beyond giving a false sense of modernity and innovation. This is the 21st century. All right, fine. Author Randy Meeks. Appreciate the kind of outrage. Appreciate the general, crux of just calling something stupid because it is. But look, this is one of those myths or red herrings. The idea that the internet posting spoilers is the root of all evil, and where there is infinite amount of intelligence, logic, proof that that the internet posting things like this, not false scans. I am anti-privacy for sure, and I do not buy the argument that, hey, we should less privacy just run rampant because people will read the issue and then run out to the store and buys it. It absolutely is proven that is not the case in books, periodicals, other things like that. It may have changed the business in a positive way in some respects in music a long time ago, but it is not the case in comics. Plenty of evidence to prove it's not the case in comics. But all the same, posting spoilers, posting last panels, putting those things out there, there's a lot more evidence based on all the way back to Civil War when some of this is going on, to Hickman's Secret Wars and other things, that posting those final panels proved as far more effective marketing and advertising the publishers were doing themselves. That this actually drew people in order to buy comics because the marketing was so abysmal from the publishers that people posting on their own stuff in Reddit helped significantly. Anyway, that's the take. So, look, this is stupid. You do need to get your arms around piracy, but more than anything, the core problem remains that the comics need to be buzzworthy. I'm not even going to use the words good or bad, okay? Because that can be subjective for sure, and some of you can argue, and you have on this channel, comics are better than they ever have been. If that's how you feel in what you read, great. You're enjoying what you're buying. That's awesome. No disagreements. Good for you. Honestly, happy for you. But that is not the pervasive feeling in comics. So I'm going to start using this language a little bit more. Comics need to be buzzworthy. They need to generate attention. They need to generate gossip, water cooler talk, whatever you want to say. They need to generate excitement. And when they generate excitement, people will go to the store and they will buy them. And if they're not generating that kind of must-read stuff, it's very similar to network TV when it changed from, hey, I need to make sure I get home on Thursday night to watch the game or watch the show or whatever, to, hey, you know what? I don't need to watch this Thursday with everyone else. I don't care if I'm spoiled the next day. It's fine. You look at pro wrestling, when wrestling was really hot, it was because people needed to know the latest developments of Monday Night Wars. They didn't want to wait till the next day when somebody was going to spoil it for them at their job or school or wherever. But, with comics, they do not have that buzz. People are okay being spoiled. Nobody's rushing to the comic store to get day and date delivery of things because they don't care if they learn about it another way. Advertising and spoiling via the internet at this current stage is helpful because it's at least drawing people in to go, hey, I want to know what the fuck's going on with that. How did that panel happen? That's a benefit. Anyway, putting the QR code, I mean, just look, there's no one who could defend this as an intelligent idea to actually split the reader off. And the comment that was made in the article is 100% right, is all this is going to do is double down on people just dodging, copies entirely, printed copies. And for that matter, and I will, do a little check on this one. I went to look at Read Comics Online or one of the piracy sites, that one. And what do you know, in the scans that they're putting up, they're also grabbing the page from the QR code and throwing that in there. So if the goal is to reduce piracy or reduce some of these pieces, mission failed because it's getting up there anyway. This is solving absolutely fucking nothing. Whoever greenlit Tom being able to do this needs a sharp kick in the ass. And Tom himself, like, what more do you need? What more literally at this moment do you need to show that this is off the rails, dumb as fuck? Thanks for listening.